Welcome back students, good morning. The next topic for this session is the continuation part to the biological classification. You knew already we have discussed the first kingdom according to R.H. Whittaker's classification, that it is Monera. In Monera there are lot of types of bacteria we discussed. Why? Because Monera includes only unicellular, of course all are prokaryotes, is it? And then what are the 5 categories? Archaebacteria, eubacteria, cyanobacteria, mycoplasmas, actinomycetes, which are also called ray fungi, right? The next topic which is a dilemma kingdom, which is not a perfect kingdom, that was proposed by whom? The word kingdom Protista was coined by Ernest Haeckel. In the Protista we have discussed 5 more categories of organisms which were only purely included unicellular eukaryotes. What are those? I told chrysophytes, dinoflagellates, slime molds, eugenoids, protozoans. Among them, one category, the first category, that it is chrysophytes, we discussed, and I have told what is the name or other groups included in that: golden algae, which are also called desmids. And the next very important organism that comes under the Protista called chrysophytes are diatoms. According to the diatoms, where they live, what is their cell is made up of, what is the use of diatomaceous earth or Kieselguhr, etc. characteristic features we have discussed in earlier class, right? Now in this class I would like to explain the second category of the Protistians. They are nothing but dinoflagellates. Dinoflagellates. So what are dinoflagellates? The name it indicates, dino, di, two, flagella means two flagella. If you see, before to start the kingdom Protista, I have started with some of characteristic features. Some of them they may have locomotory organs, some of them may not have. The first category, chrysophytes, which included desmids and diatoms, were no flagella, no locomotory organs. But here you see dinoflagellates. These are usually lived in both kind of environment. Actually these are all usually aquatic environment organisms. The first category, they may live in marine environment as well fresh environment. Both environment we could mostly see, but dinoflagellates mostly found in marine environment. This is very important. Diatoms, both fresh and marine, both environment, then same equal proportion they live. But here the dinoflagellates mostly, they are mostly marine. This is very important character coming to the dinoflagellates, right? And in these organisms, pigments are present. What are the types of pigments? If you see, the pigments which are presented in dinoflagellates depend upon the coloration, like they may cause yellow color, orange, pink, red, etc. colors will be given to the dinoflagellates depending upon different types of pigments. We knew what are the types of pigments, right? What are the types of pigments? I told chlorophylls. Chlorophylls are the first kind of pigments. Secondly, carotenoids. In these two category comes. What are the two categories of carotenoids? Xanthophylls and carotins. Xanthophylls and secondly carotins. Like two more categories comes under the broad second category of pigments. Third one, phycobilins. Usually in the plants we will learn usually these three categories of broad pigments. Phycobilins, again two types: phycocyanins, phycoerythrin. In previous class we discussed Where? Cyanobacteria. Phycocyanin means blue, right? Phycoerythrin, erythrin means red. Phycoerythrin, red, right? So what we need to be understand, why these are all different colors are given to the dinoflagellates depending upon these type of pigments. Usually plants means they could be algae or bryophyta, pteridophyta, whatever it, or even angiosperms or gymnosperms, whatever the plants you take, they have three kind of broad category of pigments. The chlorophylls again divide into 5 more categories: chlorophyll A, B, C, D, E. Understand? So depending upon different types, I told already, xanthophylls are in what? Yellow color, keratins orange color. So depending upon the different types of pigment, the dinoflagellates will be give or in the different kind of colors, right? Second character, dinoflagellates, their body, suppose if you take one organism, this is cell, the cell wall has some plate like structure. This plate like structure is having, cell wall is having stiff cellulosic plate, stiff cellulosic plate. This is very important. If you remember, diatoms I told, silica embedded cell walls which makes the two upper epi and lower hypotheca together form a thickest structure, what we call a soap box. But here the cell wall is made with stiff cellulosic plates, right? And here the two cellulosic, here also we could say the plate or the outermost cell theca we could call as theca. In this theca, as the name it indicates, what? Dino, two flagella present. In the two flagella, have you seen here? There are two grooves if you seen. This is first groove, which is also called sulcus. And here the lower groove, which is called cingulum. Cingulum also called annulus or girdle. Children, are you understanding? There are two grooves I told. The cell wall that is separating the total theca is into two parts, two grooves. What are the two grooves? Here the upper one sulcus, the lower one cingulum. I told already there are two flagella. One flagella will be vertically comes like this. I told flagella means what? It is one of a long tube, hairy like structure that helps in the locomotion of these organisms. Diatoms, they do not have any flagella, they are so passively floats freely on these water bodies. Here the first flagella has came vertically. So among two flagella, the first flagella arranged vertically from where? From the sulcus. This is very important, my children. The second one, have you seen the another groove that what I told, which is nothing but cingulum. This is how did it arranged? Transversely. Transversely it's arranged. From where does it arranged? It is arranged from cingulum. So, like how one is vertically straight and another one perpendicular, like transversely it came perpendicular. Now, finally what happens? This flagella rotates. How? As like as a spin. Those two will cause spinning moment. They cause, the two flagella causes spinning moments. Because of their showing spinning moments, the dinoflagellates are usually called whirling whips. These are usually called whirling whips. You know, whirling whip will usually beat with whips or not. Once the whip is just released out, then it goes straightly. Then again it rotates itself, spirally it rotates itself. So that such movements which are exhibited by one of protistians. Remember, these are all protistians. Pigments presented means these are one kind of plants only, but these are all unicellular. Right. So, spinning movements, they have locomotory organs showing characteristics of animals, having pigments is the characteristic feature of plants. So, nobody differentiate whether these protistians are belongs to animal or plant. Hence, the R.H. Whittaker has placed this as in a special kingdom called Protista. And the word dinoflagella is brought or given because of what? Having two types of flagella. The two flagella, one is vertical and another one is transversely presented, which causes spinning movements, hence they are called whirling whips, right. Now, one more thing I would like to explain. Mesocaryon. Dinoflagellates exhibit mesocaryon condition. What is the mesocaryon condition? Means during cell division. You know what happened during cell division? One cell divides into two or not. So, during cell division, the chromosomes which are presented in a material called chromatin. I told already, suppose if it is nucleus and this is chromatin. Chromatin has to be condensed usually, but chromatin doesn't condense. Are you understanding, my children? During cell division, usually chromatin must be condensed. So, chromosomes are formed. But here if you see in the dinoflagellates, during cell division, chromatin material, it does not condense. Because of that condition, that nucleus is usually called mesocaryon. Meso in middle or dilemma, caryon nucleus. That mesokaryonic condition was first identified in which organisms? Dinoflagellates. This is also very important point you need to be understand, right. Now, these dinoflagellates often into the water body some toxic substances. These toxins are very poisonous and may kill the remaining aquatic organisms. Say for example, saxitoxin. Saxitoxin is one of toxic substances released by these dinoflagellates. So, they may cause many organisms to death. And if you see Noctiluca, Goniolax, these organisms, they exhibit. I told already goniolox is one of dinoflagellates. In mostly in marine environment, it releases saxitoxin, and what it do? It kill. The saxitoxin kills aquatic organisms, aquatic animals. Aquatic animals are usually killed by the saxitoxin that was produced by goniolax. And what about Nactyleuca? Nactyleuca, it is usually bioluminescence exhibiting animal. Bioluminescence it exhibits. What is the meaning of bioluminescence? Luminescence means lightening. During night time, in sometimes in the oceans or seas or in some areas, water bodies, will be find some of lightning like. That lightning is brought by like or dinoflagellates like Nactyleuca. Are you understanding? Often the goniolax, in sometimes goniolax, because of containing more R-phycoerythrin, R-phycoerythrin, what is the meaning of erythrin? Red color. Because of this red color, the sea name called Mediterranean Sea. Mediterranean. Have you heard about this sea name? Mediterranean Sea. In Mediterranean Sea, we will find red tides. Got it? So, red tides in Mediterranean Sea is just because of one of pigments secreted by or produced by which organisms? One of dinoflagellates only. Hence, they are called red tides of the Mediterranean Sea. Did you get my point, everybody? So, what I am come to conclude that the dinoflagellates are showing spinning moments, they are having different coloration, longitudinal, horizontal, there are two flagella arranged which causes spinning moment, mesocaryon condition is there and they causes different coloration, bioluminescence they exhibits, oxytocin like toxic substances also they secretes, right, in these many ways. Red color for Mediterranean Sea in the tides is also responsible for the dinoflagellates. You understood? Next, after to the red dinoflagellates, euglenoids. Third category of protists, they are nothing but euglenoids. Euglenoids are usually found in both environment, but mostly fresh water. They are mostly fresh water. This is very important, right? Now coming to the cell wall. First we have to take cell wall. Euglenoids do not have a cell wall. Cell wall is absent. There is no cell wall. But in the place of cell wall, in the place of cell wall, in the place of cell wall, a proteinaceous layer, that layer is called pellicle. Are you understanding? What is pellicle? Pellicle is a proteinaceous layer. Instead of the cell wall will be presented in the what kind of organisms? The organisms such as what? Suppose you take euglena. Right? In the euglena, if you see, this is what? This is pellicle. It is not usually cell wall. It is a flexible, the pellicle is a flexible proteinaceous layer that enables the cell enlargement, right. So, pellicle is a proteinaceous layer, instead of cell wall it occupies in the euglenoids, it is very important, right. Now, see how many flagella are there? There are two flagella, flagellum singular, flagella plural. The two flagella are equal or unequal? The two flagella are unequal, this is very important. Two unequal flagella are presented, so these are locomotory, which means euglenoids also locomotory protisteans, but not diatoms. First one chrysophytes, dinoflagellates locomotory, and now euglenoids also locomotory. Are you understanding? These are mostly freshwater, remember. Very important character I would like to introduce here. Even though these are unicellular protisteans of eukaryotes, these are mostly, they possess pigments. Pigments like what? Chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, right, carotins, phycobilins, xanthophylls, so these are all pigments usually presented in which organisms? In usually we need to be see these are all kind of pigments in higher plants. So, here you will be need to be understand one very important point, the pigments presented in euglenoids are equal to the pigments presented in higher plants. Usually it is not a higher plant, it is a unicellular protistean eukaryote. Of course, even though it is showing plant characteristics, but being locomotory we cannot say that it is exactly plant. I told already, imperfect kingdom. Being the pigmentation which is similar to the higher plants, they are very important to get nutrients, or they are able to perform photosynthesis, right. Now, you see some other characters also I would like to tell. Being all the pigments, it is in autotrophic nutrition, it show autotrophic nutrition. You know what is the meaning of autotrophic nutrition? Organism which perform their photosynthesis to produce their own food are nothing but autotrophs, and that kind of nutrition is called autotrophic nutrition. Now, you see in this, here the area where the flagella arranged, this is called eye spot. This eye spot is also called photosensitive stigma. Photosensitive stigma. What it means? To receive light for the process of photosynthesis, to trap the light energy, there is a eye spot, small eye like structure which is near to the notch or lobe. That spot is called eye spot or photosensitive stigma, which captures the light energy, right. Along with these two, we could identify some other parts. Cytostome, and one more, gullet. Along with that, reservoir. So, it is eukaryotic, hence it is having what? A nucleus. The remaining all cell organelles also present. But here you have to understand there are three important parts: pellicle, eye spot. What is cytostome? Cytostome, gullet are equal to the parts like mouth and stomach. Did you get my point? How our small intestine and stomach is able to reserve the food for few hours, the same way the structure called reservoir. It stores the food for little time. Are you understanding, my children? So, whenever the word comes cytostome, gullet, reservoir, eye spot, pellicle, two unequal flagella, what these are all characters belongs to? There belongs to euglenoids. Right? Now, my question is, if light is absent, then what these organisms do? When light is absent, the euglenoids are usually try to capture small insects or some other phytoplanktons or something. So, they depend upon other organism, right. So, hence if organism which depend upon another organism, what can we say? Heterotrophs. But here I told what, when light is available, if light is available, they show autotrophic nutrition. If light is absent, if light is deprived means not completely absent, even it is very less available, then they try to depend upon another organism. So, both autotrophic and heterotrophic, both the nutritions they exhibit, hence these are usually called mixotrophic organisms, or that kind of nutrition is called mixotrophic nutrition. Right? Mixotrophic nutrition is the characteristic feature of what? Which organism is this? The diagram that belongs is nothing but euglena. It belongs to euglenoids. Did you get my point, everybody? So, here whatever the important terms I told, you need to be keep very keep in your mindset. If the two flagella are unequal, then we could say heterognat. What is heterognat? Heterognat condition is nothing but hetero means differ, knot means two knobs. Two flagella unequally presented, and that condition is called heterognat. Like many kind of characters we could explain or get from the topic called euglenoids, right. This is a protistians are nothing but slime mounds. Children, we are discussing about what? The kingdom Protista. What is Protista? In Protista, all unicellular eukaryotes are included. We do not know whether it is plant or animal cell, whether it is having cell wall or not. Those characters are not considered by the scientists, but whether they are made up of single cell or not. Only that criterion was taken by the scientists, so that they grouped into several categories. The fourth category, which is called slime molds. Now, what are slime molds? I will explain. These are the saprophytic protistians. Slime molds are the saprophytic. Till now we did not say the word. What are saprophytes? Usually the organisms which depends upon other organism are called heterotrophs. Heterotrophs may be parasites, saprophytes, symbionts, like three categories are there. Saprophytes, what they do? What is saprophytic nutrition? They release digestive enzymes, right? Digestive enzymes. They release some digestive enzymes on the prey. Usually what is prey? A dead or decaying body. Usually what kind of organism they release or they show that kind of nutrition, that saprophytic nutrition. Usually this kind of nutrition is seen in the fungi. Understand or not? But fungi has cell wall. Fungi has cell wall. Yes or no? What is that? It is made with what? Chitin. Only fungal cell wall is made up of chitin, which means a fungi is having cell wall. If they are having characteristic features like fungi, then why don't these slime molds are kept in the fungi? Why they kept in the special kingdom like Protista? Are you understanding? If they show fungal members characters, we need to be take out of the Protista and we need to be placed in the kingdom fungi, but not like that. Why? Because the slime molds are not having any cell wall. Cell wall is absent in the slime molds. Now you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many nuclei is there? Many nuclei are there. If many nuclei is there, what we call it is xenocytic condition or multinucleate. Are you understanding, children? Nucleus is there, hence it is a eukaryote. Many eukaryotes, many eukaryotes like many slime molds, they are not surrounded by each. Usually if it is a cell, it is a cell membrane and this is nucleus, then we called it as a cell. So every cell has a cell membrane. This is usually we knew, but here these are multinucleate slime molds are many are get associated by only one cell membrane. The multinucleate protoplasm. What is this multinucleate protoplasm? The multinucleated protoplasm is surrounded by how many cell membranes? Only one cell membrane. Are you understanding? This kind of situation will be occurred during favorable conditions. So here I would like to tell there are two kind of situations for slime molds. First, during favorable conditions. During favorable conditions, I told the multinucleate condition body, what I called, this is multinucleate. If multinucleate, then we should not keep in the organism like Protista, but in higher kingdoms like either Animalia, Plantae. But remember, I used multinucleate but not multicellular. This is only one cell only. Why? Only one cell membrane is there, but nuclei many. The multinucleated protoplasm surrounded by the one plasma membrane is usually called plasmodium. You will get a question, what is the meaning for plasmodium? Once again I will explain. We are discussing about slime molds. Slime molds are saprophytic protistians. They depend upon dead and decaying twigs, organisms, animals, plants, etc. Usually the body, I told already there is no cell wall, but the multinucleated protoplasm is get associated by a single cell membrane, then it is called plasmodium. This plasmodium during favorable condition, it moves towards where? It moves towards twigs or dead bodies. Twigs or dead bodies, wherever they usually slimy. Slimy means what? Mucus, sticky and able to move up to several feet. Up to several feet it moves. Are you understanding, my children? They do not have cell wall, they do not have locomotory organs also. Locomotory organs also absent. There were no locomotory organ, no cell wall, but the only thing is the slimy nature plasmodium. During favorable conditions, they are able to go up to several feet to engulf by releasing some of enzymes, and that is the reason why I call these saprophytic protistians. Right. Now, then what happened during unfavorable conditions? This is my question. During unfavorable condition, what it do? Then these are formed some specialized fruiting bodies. What are fruiting bodies? You will be learned in the next class called fungi. In fungi, I will tell fruiting bodies are one kind of sexual reproductive parts. The fruiting bodies produces usually sexual spores. I will explain what are these spores and these structures. Okay, now you have to remember one thing. During unfavorable condition, the slime molds produces fruiting bodies. Fruiting bodies produces what? Sexual spores. The spores are having true cell walls. True cell wall are seen in where the spores that are produced by fruiting bodies. Fruiting bodies are produced by what? Slime molds during one unfavorable condition. Are you understand? First, what I started, there is no cell wall in the slime molds, I told, but true cell wall might be observed when the spores are produced by some of sexual spores. They are nothing but fruiting bodies during one unfavorable condition. So, depending upon that, the slime molds again divided into two, cellular and acellular. Some of them are having cellular type and some of them are no cellular, only with protoplasm. I will give the examples also. Types of slime molds. What are the types of slime molds? The first category is, I told already, acellular. Acellular slime molds. Second one, cellular slime molds. Like there are two categories are there. What are acellular? They do not have cell walls. Suppose, example, Physalia, Physarum, and we can tell one more example. That example is Physalia, and we could take one more example. That example is Fuligo. So, you may get an example in your examination that the slime molds like Physarum or Physarella, Fuligo are one kind of, what kind of slime molds there? Acellular slime molds. Then what are examples for cellular? For cellular, Dictyostelium, and take one more example, and that example Dictyostelium, and one more Polyspondylium. Right. So, Dictyostelium, Polyspondylium are the examples for cellular slime molds. Acellular, Physarum, Physarella, Fuligo. right? This is about slime modes, protozoans. So, we used to call the protozoa is one of phyla in the animal kingdom, but it is one of protistians. So, we will start with Coelenterata onwards. Coelenterata like Cnidaria, Coelenterata, Cnidaria, Platyhelminthes, Nematohelminthes, right? Like the remaining 9 phyla we will learn in animal kingdom. So, protozoans are one kind of what? Unicellular eukaryotes which comes under the protistians. These are protozoans are depending upon different types whether they are having locomotory organs or not. Suppose first category, if you take the first category are amoeboid protozoans. When the word protozoan comes, remember they do not have cell wall. Cell wall is absent. Protozoans important character is absence of cell wall, and depending upon what we are firstly taking locomotory organs, what kind of locomotory organs they are having for their locomotion. Depending upon this character, the first one is amoeboid protozoans. Suppose example you take, what is example for amoeboid? Amoeba or ant amoeba. You know ant amoeba histolytica which causes amoebiosis. Sticky motions we call sticky motions, right? Mucilage motions. So, which is also called loose motions, that is caused by ant amoeba histolytica. Amoeba we knew very, why? Because as it is very familiar for its irregular shape, right? Now, what is this? It is amoeba. Amoeba, what it has for locomotion, tell me? Pseudopodia. What is pseudo? Pseudo means false. Podia means foot. So, the amoeboid protozoan, one of protozoans, that first one amoeboid, which is having amoeboid nature, irregular, but the locomotion is brought out by the foot like. These are usually not a true foot, but it is false foot. Through this they will be moved. Hence, these are called amoeboid protozoans. Second category, ciliated protozoans. Ciliated protozoans. As the name indicates, cilia is the locomotory organ in these organisms. Cilia will be the locomotory organs for these organisms. You just take one example such as paramecium, right? Paramecium or verticella, verticellus, right? These organisms, if you see, their body entirely covered with what? If suppose if it is a paramecium, right? Its entire body is covered with what? Small hairy like densely packed structures. These are nothing but cilia. How oars are useful for locomotion in the boat, right? How oars help? The same way cilia acts as oars which causes locomotion, right? And this is also is having what? Two types of nucleus. Have you remembered? This is called macronuclei micronucleus, macro and micronucleus. So there are two nuclei presented. Two nuclei, one is macro and another one is micro. Macro, micro, two nuclei contain the one and only protozoan that we are learning in our class is nothing but paramecium only. In the paramecium, there are lot of vacuole-like structures will be there. Vacuoles, what kind of vacuole? Gas vacuole, sorry, contractile vacuole. Contractile vacuole is designed for what? Excretion. And to engulf food, there is one more vacuole called food vacuole. So, food vacuole, contractile vacuoles can also be seen in which organism? The ciliated protozoan like paramecium. One more very important character I would like to tell. In the paramecium, here at cytostome, I told already euglenoids, cytostome, and here you will be seeing gullet, and what is one more where the food is stored? That is nothing but a reservoir. So, cytostome, gullet, reservoir, but see in euglenoids photosensitive stigma word was used, that word was not there here, except that the remaining all are as it is do not have any pigments. So, photosensitive stigma does not help, right. So, what you need to understand: cilia, vacuoles, macro, micro, nucleus, cytostome, gullet, reservoir. If these are all words comes, then it is a ciliated protozoan such as paramecium. Right. Now, what next category of the third category are nothing but flagellated protozoans. So, flagella helps for what? Locomotion only. What are flagella? We knew. Suppose example only I am taking. The example for this Trypanosoma gambiense. Trypanosoma gambiense causes sleeping sickness. In where? In Africa. Hence it is called African sleeping sickness disease, causing organism that is nothing but what? Trypanosoma gambiense. Suppose if it is Trypanosoma, there are long flagella will be seen. Are you understanding? So, if the flagella are the locomotory organs in the protozoans, then they are called flagellated protozoans, which comes under protozoans only, right. So, example is Trypanosoma gambiense. Sporozoans. What are sporozoans? Dear children, I told plasmodium word when just now in the topic called slime molds. During favorable condition, multinucleated protoplasm surrounded by single cell membrane is called plasmodium. But here I am telling the animal, the organism name, it is a protozoan called Plasmodium vivax. Plasmodium vivax. Have you heard Plasmodium vivax, which causes malaria? Plasmodium vivax, Plasmodium ovale, Plasmodium falciform, Plasmodium malariae. These are all species of protozoans causes what? Malaria disease. The Plasmodium is the best examples for sporozoans. These are the sporozoans, they do not have locomotory organs. Locomotory organs are absent in sporozoans. They need a vector. What is that vector? Mosquito is a vector. Through mosquitoes they enter into, usually in human body. and they have a specialized stage in their sporozoan is a stage. Usually sporozoans are very notorious. They are in sometimes very dreadful. They may kill the organisms also. Very notorious parasites. Usually they are doing parasitism in our body. Notorious, dreadful. They usually lived in another body to cause many diseases, hence they are called parasites. Now what you need to be understand, they do not have locomotory organs. See, first amoeboid protozoans move through false foot, pseudopodia, paramecium, cilia, trypanosoma, flagella, but sporozoans they do not have. They have, because of not having any locomotor organ, they need some vectors like mosquito, then they enter in our body, then they are having one specialized disease causing stage is called sporozoan stage or spore stage, like merozoites, cryptozoite, different stages you will be learned in the Plasmodium vivax life cycle, you will be learnt in the animal, in zoology portion. Are you understanding? This is about what the entire Protista kingdom. Hope this is useful. Thank you.